Stone O'Brien, Money is War, August 30th, 2017. An overcast day going down Route 900. Don't know if the track's going to be open tonight. Had a couple of great weeks of racing. Got my butt handed to me plenty of times. A lot of schooling was going on. I had some modest success in a couple of races. I'm in pretty good shape. Still doing recovery from that crash a year ago. Certain nerve damage not done yet. But all in all, everything's working pretty good. Glad to be healthy. My heart goes out to those in South Texas and the Houston area. Terrible thing. Definitely time to just take action. Talk about solutions later. These kind of events are now predictable. They will continue to keep happening in these areas where they tend to happen. We have to take the people that are telling us that seriously and stop screaming fake news, fake science, da-da-da. Yes, there are frauds everywhere, in religion, in science, in politics. There are frauds absolutely everywhere. It doesn't mean that we throw the baby out with the bathwater. You know, there's a lot of tragic stories coming out of Houston right now, and I know we'll do the right thing, and I know that there's going to be a lot of backbiting going on, and certain people should take a massive hit because of positions that they held previously when Sandy was the issue. But we will rebuild Houston just like we finally got down to business in Louisiana and New Jersey, etc. All right, moving on to money, because that's at the heart of how do we help Houston and how do you help yourself. So Trump is going to Missouri, a state he carried by an overwhelming majority, 19 points I think I read. That's virtually a unanimous support in today's age. And he's going to go and talk about how the economy is rigged for the 1%, and yet he will present a tax cut package that does nothing except continue to fuel the pockets of those very same 1%. So yes, it is in fact rigged, and the guy that's going to stand there and tell some Americans today that it is going to keep rigging it. Anyone that's gone bankrupt as many times as he has screwed a lot of people financially and has done whatever he's needed to do to take care of number one and, screw everybody else. So, in my book, he's not a trustworthy person to listen to about managing money. Would I ever give him a dollar bill to work with? Would I ever invest in a Trump operation? Absolutely not. That's a fool's errand. And it's amazing how he's been able to get people to continue to invest in his enterprises over the years, considering how much money he's actually lost. So, what are you going to do about it? So I've got some ideas for you. These are things that I'm considering. We're going to make our house a church, and we're going to open it up to services, and it'll become a 5013C, and we're going to be able to do a lot of write-offs, and we're going to convert our C Corps to at least S Corps and get passed through and get done with double taxation. That was stupid. That was my mistake, but we were being educated by Silicon Valley at the time, and that's not the way to go in most cases. you'll stand to lose control of your thing. And most of the things that you want to do that can make lots of money, they won't be interested in anyway. So with their early seed money investments comes a loss of a lot of control and a lot of risk to your longevity in your business. Something to avoid. Figure out how to bootstrap it, make it work, and then if you ever want to take money, it's a lot cheaper. You don't have to give up nearly as much control. Other things. We're going to look at Make Me Move. I think my wife may have got it posted. We're just going to put our house up for sale at a ridiculous number. Part of taking care of your financial future is just eliminating all debt, a la Dave Ramsey course. I'm not a front man for Dave. Don't know him, never met him. Took his course, like it a lot. It was worth our time and money, and really appreciate, the person at the church that we attended this course at that put it on. He was very capable, did an excellent job of helping my wife and I make some serious improvements in how we're operating. So I'll recommend it. At least you should go and investigate and see, if it makes sense to you. But, Dave is all about getting out from under and doing it rapidly as you can. I'm not going to try and synopsize this course. I'm not an expert. We're still learning. In fact, we're going to take ourselves back through it on our own, from the beginning, and make sure that, we're following through. That's bottom line management, and it's probably the place for everybody to start. Unless you have that absolutely buttoned up, then of course it's time to move on the top line, unless you're already doing that. And if you are, why are you listening to me? Because you already get it, right? It's about doing your own thing and about becoming financially independent so that, one, you can protect yourself, right? I mean, money is war, right? You are trying to defend your way of life, as in your day-to-day way of life. The enemy, your primary enemy, let's get this straight, folks, is not external. We know from history, watching Egypt, watching Rome, let's just pick off a couple there. I'm most familiar with them, not sure about some of the Asian dynasties, but we know that Egypt and Rome rotted from within, and so did the Western European, empires. They rotted from within, and narcissism becomes king instead of how do you make life better for your people. We're suffering the same rot. We have the same thing. The Pluto aristocracy, otherwise known as the plutocracy, or the overwhelming leveraged rule by the rich, oligarchy, is taking place in your so-called democracy. And it's not a democracy. It's a representative republic with twists like the Electoral College. It is not a democracy. If it was a democracy, it would be one eligible voter, one vote. And your president would be elected by a popular vote, plain and simple. And we'd have a limit, like you have to have at least 51%, otherwise we do a revote until we get that. Something, right? I mean, there would be a description of our tolerance, and maybe it would just be win by one, whatever. I mean, that's the purest democracy. If you have 9 people and somebody wins a vote 5-4, they win. The majority spoke. We don't have that. Quit calling it a democracy. You don't live in a democracy. You want to talk about democratic principles? Interesting. Sort of funny. We don't live in a democracy, but we'll talk about democratic principles. I mean, it's not a totally ridiculous discussion, but it definitely lets people bend the message in ways that, if you're not paying attention, will get you thinking in one direction when it's not really happening that way. So, I lost a little bit of what I thought I was going to talk about today. Hopefully it'll come back. there's this speech going to come on about taxes. I mean, we could go back to healthcare for a minute. And I'd just like to ask you, do you think your kid should be able to go to a doctor no matter what, no matter what, no matter what, no matter what? Like you got laid off, but your kid's sick? Does your kid deserve to be taken care of? Especially in the richest. That's the only thing we're the ist of. We are the absolute richest empire that God has ever viewed on this planet ever. Maybe the Pharaoh was richer than any one person is in our world today relative to all the other people he was richer than. But no empire has ever had the quality of life, the amount of crap, the financial leverage against an extremely competitive economy worldwide that the United States enjoys right now. But money is really simple, right? People tell you how complex it is, and maybe you've been bamboozled by the stock market. Look, if you understand Las Vegas, you understand the stock market the way that most people, manipulate it. The way that the financial institutions operate that for your money. You're a gambler unless you know exactly what you're doing. I mean, there's pretty much one way to operate that, eliminates the need to be an expert, because the financial institutions can't escape the fact that they want the markets to succeed overall. So if you invest in an index fund, you can't be beaten, right? Nobody is smarter than the market. But people do know how to short-term game it, and other people become their victims. So the bailout was you and me being victims of some short-term gamers that took us out behind the woodshed. Don't blame your government. Things would have gotten a lot worse if we hadn't just printed some more money. Don't blame Obama for the stimulus package. I don't care which Republican would have been in office. It could have been Ted Cruz. He would have been throwing money. He would have been bailing out those financial institutions. I don't believe they're too big to fail if we start taking the right actions. And maybe we should have paid the piper then. I don't know how bad things would have gotten, but shit does run downhill, does it not, people? Okay, so if it got really bad, who do you think it would have been the worst for? Listen, ecological disasters like Harvey get all of our sympathy. How much sympathy did you have for the person that was struggling more than you in that financial disaster? If you didn't have any, you should have. White-collar crime is not punished the way that it should be. My opinion, a white-collar criminal that does damage to 10,000 or more people is worse than a murderer. They need to go to jail for life or minimum decades. Get them out of the game so they can never, ever do it again. Ever. I know a guy that did everything right. Great guy. Great guy. And because of that crap, he went down over $500,000. He had saved, he had built his stuff, he had done everything right. So much better than me. A great mentor of mine over the years. And he took a pounding. Did he deserve that? Absolutely not. He played by all the rules. Dude showed up every day for his family. Every freaking day. Did the right thing. And he was pummeled. Should there have been people going to jail left and right? Absolutely. Was it the mortgage brokers? No. I'm married to a mortgage broker. She can't sell anything that isn't approved. She only sells products that the financial institutions offer. She's not a decision maker. She's a salesperson. And there's certain things that she wouldn't bother to present because she thought they were crap. She used her morals. The people that were running the derivatives didn't. Did they go to jail? No. We bailed them out. Shit runs downhill, folks. Wake up. Quit saying it's your damn government. The government's supposed to be you. It's not your government. Your neighbor who lives in a better neighborhood than you is stomping on your neck. God damn it. Wake up. This is war, people. It's called class war. Nothing has changed. Just because you don't call yourself a serf, you are. Oh, you're sitting in six figures? Whoop, whoop. Okay, play their game, live their life, do their bidding, and take what they give you. Beautiful. Wonderful. I've been running that nut for a long time. One, it ain't enough, because if you've done any math and computed lifestyle costs versus a couple of generations ago, you'll understand how the little magic P game is being played. And we are being played. Whatever your salary is, in comparison to those that are governing your daily life, because they are governing, and it's not the government, it's your damn boss. It's the people on top of your boss. Your boss is probably just a front man. He doesn't know any better. There's very few people pulling your lever, but they are pulling it every single day. And you need to freaking realize it. This ain't going to change until you change. If nothing changes, nothing changes. It's your ball. It's your game. Quit waiting around for someone to make it better. If you don't know what to do, figure it out. You're smart. Don't tell me you didn't go to college. I didn't graduate college. Don't tell me you don't got something. Watch Pursuit of Happiness. That's a true story. Believe that. And I'm not suggesting you go work in the stock market. It's like my least favorite place for money to be made. But an index fund is a smart way to, make money, because the market, look, if the market goes all the way in the hole and you lose a bunch of money there, the only thing you could have done different that would have been better, and I'll suggest real estate ahead of the index fund, is real estate. So the market could go in the tank, but you could still own real property that would eventually revalue. But many of the companies that were part of your index fund might go out of business, and you would just flat lose, a boatload of your money. Maybe, the company that you held the index fund with goes under, and you have no way to reclaim it, right? Like if it's a total stock market collapse. And that could happen, right? I mean, there aren't enough regulations. Glass-Steagall is gone. That got put into place to prevent 1929 from happening again. But they tore it down. And I forgot the name of what they put back in here recently, but it's just crap. It's not real. There's too many holes, and it's not near what Glass-Steagall was. There is no real separation between the operational banks and the financial investment banks. It's a wide open corridor. They get to play both sides of the aisle. That's the problem. And I'm not an expert on it, but I've heard it described, and I get it. That there is no stability when there's no balance between the arenas of power in the financial areas. When it can be controlled by fewer and fewer people, they can totally game it. So, yeah, it is rigged. You're totally right, it's rigged. Things can change over time, right? I mean, the water will wear down the rock. As long as it keeps lapping its little wave over the top of that rock, it's going to wear it down in the sand. Be the water, wear the rock down. I mean, it's a long game you got to play. This isn't going to turn around overnight. You got to get a vision of what you want. And then you have to build it. You have to become a sociological engineer. You have to become an economic pioneer. And I say have to because I believe that's the only way through. The same-o is heading down the path of empire demise. America the Great is America the second, the third, the left out. Forget about make America great again. Let's make America great. What about some of the things in our history was ever great? Look, if you're a bigot, at least be smart. And realize, go ahead, hate. But money's your number one problem. Black people didn't take shit from you. They have been penalized. If you don't have enough damn honesty to at least go ahead and be a hater, but understand that you've been getting over, you're full of shit. You're just stupid. And there ain't no cure for that. There ain't no cure for stupid. You can change people's minds and hearts over time, but if you're just dumb, you're fucked. And you will continue to get used. If you're not dumb, if you're not stupid, then you need to start strapping on your battle axe and come to war every day and take charge of your country. And that's not with a damn gun. The battle axe is a figure of speech, please. It's money. It is money. If you think that working with a gun is going to solve your problems, you're falling for a huge part of the 1% game. War is making them rich and killing your kids. How many senators' sons have died in the line of battle? They should be up front, right? Or maybe Charles Koch's kids, if he had any, I don't even know if he has any, should be up front, right? Because didn't he benefit more than anybody from this glorious economy? Where are their kids? Where are the 1%'s kids? Are they leading the charge in Iraq and Afghanistan? Hell no. Hell no. How many poor kids have gone into the army because they didn't think they had anything else to do? Well, shame on their parents for not teaching them better. I'm not letting my kids go die for some bullshit. Are you kidding me? I'll run them to wherever they got to go to avoid that. They got to fight a different war, a smart war. All this Donald Trump's finger hovering around the fucking red button, crapping in his diaper, fighting on Twitter with some lunatic in North Korea. Get your head out of that shit. That's lunacy. That is ridiculous. American exceptionalism is American arrogance. We're no different or no better than anybody else. You need to show up every single day and do the very best that you can and pray to God that you're continued to be blessed. We have been blessed with resources. We have been blessed with smart. We have been blessed with a lot of work. A lot of your forebears did a lot of great work. You want to celebrate the history of the United States? Let's celebrate people that put their freaking one foot in front of the other, nose to the grindstone, and made it happen. Let's celebrate that. Let's not celebrate guns. Let's not celebrate these F-16s that when they fly over Seafair in Seattle, they shake me to my fucking core. Because I know what that kid in Iraq felt like when he heard it roar over his head. He knew he was going to die. And he didn't deserve to die. You want to take care of Iraq, you should have assassinated Saddam Hussein and quit talking about the fake weapons of mass destruction. You've been being hoodwinked. Republicans and Democrats alike have been selling bullshit messages. They have masters with pockets full of gold. They get your vote and they serve the gold. Wake up. Elect yourself. Go run for office. I mean it. Vote the bums out over and over and over. Quit listening to the story coming out of the mouth of these career politicians. I don't care what party they're in. They're phony as a $3 bill. You want America to be great, whether you think it's a gin or not, it's going to be on your shoulders. If you don't do it, it ain't going to happen. I don't care what your plan is. Make one and execute. It'll be better than what's going on because you're going to run up against me and a whole bunch of other people, and we're going to sort it out together. This ain't politics. This is one issue at a time. This is life. I don't care what you call where we live as long as we're doing it right. Quit living in a bunch of labels. They don't mean anything. Liberal, conservative, Republican, Democrat. It's a bunch of crap. It's a bunch of marketing. It's a way to manipulate your thinking. You've got to show up every single day and start thinking from zero. You have to invent it every single day. This isn't easy. This is not easy at all. What we have to do is really hard. It's time to go to school. And that's something that a lot of us didn't want to do, right? Didn't want to show up every day. I did what I was supposed to do in school because I wanted to play sports, and my dad wasn't going to let me if I didn't do good in school. So there was my motivator. Hopefully you can find a motivator, to show up every day now and take this thing seriously and realize that you're going to have to drop your arrogance and your fear, no matter what it is you're arrogant and afraid about. And you're going to have to come into agreement with enough of your fellow Americans, and not the people that like to call themselves our leaders, because they ain't leading shit. That's what I'm telling you. That's what I'm saying. That's where we're at right now. This is not happening with our current system. I'm not saying it's time to overthrow the government. What I mean by the current system, maybe I should say the individuals. The system can be made better, but the individuals are what's really flawed. We need new people. We need term limits in government offices so that we can have true public servants, people that aren't showing up to ride the gravy train of the lobbyists, that aren't showing up to write that book, and have it go New York Times bestseller because they were infamous or famous in their government office. All right, enough out of me. I hope you have a great day. Kevin Stone O'Brien, Money is War. I'm out.